Hi, Sarah. Today we're going to learn about the phrasal verb break up. Do you know what it means?
I think it means ending a relationship, right?
Exactly. Break up is commonly used to describe the end of a romantic relationship. For example, Tom and Lisa decided to break up.
Oh, I see. Are there other situations where breakup is used?
Yes, it can also refer to stopping something into smaller pieces or causing something to separate. Imagine a class in a noisy room. The teacher might say, "Let's break up into small groups."
So it doesn't always mean ending a relationship?
That's right. Context is important. For example, in a meeting, break up could mean ending the discussion. The meeting will break up at noon.
Got it. So the meaning can vary based on the situation.
Exactly, Sarah. Understanding the context helps determine the meaning. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I'll keep practicing. Mr. Davis, I heard a phrase called get along. Can you explain what that means in simple words?
Of course, Sarah. Get along means to have a friendly relationship with someone.
So if I get along with my friend, that means we are nice to each other?
Exactly. It means you both enjoy spending time together and don't have conflicts.
Does it only work for friends, or can it be used with anyone?
Good question. You can use it with anyone, like family or classmates.
What if someone doesn't get along with another person?
That means they might have disagreements or don't enjoy each other's company.
I see. So getting along is about being friendly and liking each other?
Yes, that's right, Sarah. It's about having a peaceful and enjoyable relationship.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now I understand what get along means.
You're welcome, Sarah. If you have more questions, feel free to ask. Sarah, have you ever been in a situation where someone told a joke that was a little too loud or offensive?
Yes, I think so. It can be pretty awkward.
Exactly. Now imagine if someone suggested that person tone down their jokes. What do you think they mean by that?
Maybe it means to make the joke less loud or offensive.
Spot on. Tone down is a phrasal verb used to suggest that something should be made less extreme or intense. It's like turning the volume down on a radio.
So, if a color is too bright, can you also tone it down?
Absolutely. You might tone down a bright color by adding a less intense shade or mixing it with white.
I see. So, tone down is like making something more subtle or less noticeable?
Precisely, Sarah. Whether it's noise, behavior, or color, toned down helps things become more moderate and balanced.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now I understand how to use tone down in different situations.
Let's talk about the phrasal verb workout. Do you know what it means?
I think it has something to do with exercising, right?
That's one common use. Work out often means to exercise, like heading to the gym or going for a run.
Is there another meaning?
Yes, indeed. It can also mean to solve a problem or plan something. For example, you can work out a math problem.
Like figuring things out?
Exactly. Additionally, work out can mean to have a successful result. For example, if you try a new recipe and it tastes good, you might say, "It worked out well."
So it has several uses depending on the context?
Precisely. It's versatile. Remembering the context will help you use it correctly. Hi, Sarah. Today we're going to talk about the phrasal verb drop off. Have you heard of it before?
I think so, but I'm not sure what it really means. Can you explain it?
Of course. Drop off can mean a few things. One common use is when you take something or someone to a particular place and leave them there. For example, if your mom drives you to school, she drops you off at the school.
Oh, so it's like when my dad drops me off at soccer practice?
Exactly, Sarah. It's about taking someone or something to a specific location and leaving them there.
Does drop off mean anything else, Mr. Davis?
Great question. Drop off can also mean a decrease over time. For instance, if the number of students in a class goes down from 30 to 20, you can say the number of students dropped off.
So it can mean leaving someone somewhere or something getting less?
That's right. You've got it, Sarah.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now I understand drop off much better.
Have you ever been out walking and suddenly met a friend by surprise?
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times. It's always a fun surprise.
Exactly. That's a perfect example of when we use the phrasal verb run into. It means to meet someone unexpectedly.
Oh, I see. Like when you don't plan it and it just happens?
Precisely. Let's say you're at the mall and you run into a classmate in the food court. It's not planned, but there they are.
So it's like bumping into someone without meaning to?
Yes, that captures it well. Run into can also describe encountering problems. For example, I ran into some trouble with my homework.
Oh, I didn't know it could mean that too. So it's about meeting unexpectedly and facing issues?
Correct. You're getting it. It's versatile. Keep an eye out for those unexpected meetings or situations. They're run-into moments. Sarah, have you ever noticed how many different ways we use the phrase pick up?
I've heard it a lot, but I guess I haven't really thought about all the ways.
Well, let's explore it. If I say, I need to pick up groceries, what do you think that means?
I guess it means you're going to get groceries from the store, right?
Exactly. Pick up can mean to collect or gather something like groceries. Now, if I say, I need to pick up my friend from the airport, what does that mean?
That means you're going to go and get your friend from the airport.
Spot on. So, pick up can also mean to retrieve or transport someone. Here's another example. If I say, I started picking up Spanish quickly, what do you think that means?
Maybe it means you're learning Spanish fast.
Yes. It can also mean to learn something often quickly. Sarah, these examples show how versatile pickup is in English.
It really is. Thanks for breaking it down for me, Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, can you explain the phrasal verb bail out? I've heard it a few times and wasn't quite sure what it means.
Of course, Sarah. Bail out has a few meanings, but the most common one is to provide financial help to a person or organization in difficulty. For instance, if a company is struggling financially, another organization might bail it out by giving or lending money.
Okay, that makes sense. Are there other contexts where bailout can be used?
Yes, another meaning relates to leaving a difficult situation unexpectedly. For example, if someone is in a meeting they find unproductive or awkward, they might choose to bail out by exiting early.
So it's kind of like a rescue operation in both cases?
Exactly. It's about getting out of a tough situation, whether financially or physically.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I understand it much better now.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep exploring phrasal verbs. They're really useful. Hi, Sarah. Today, let's explore the phrasal verb bank on. Do you know what it means?
Not really, Mr. Davis. I've heard it before, but I'm not sure how to use it. Is it about money?
Good question. Although it sounds financial, bank on means to rely on something or someone. It's like counting on something to happen.
Oh, I see. So it's like saying you trust something will occur?
Exactly. For instance, if you say, I'm banking on good weather for the picnic, you mean you're relying on or expecting the weather to be nice.
That makes sense. Can you give another example?
Sure. If a student says, I bank on my friend to help me study, it means they rely on their friend's assistance.
Got it. So it's about expecting someone or something to be reliable. Are there any situations where it might be risky to bank on something?
Yes, Sarah. It's risky if what you're banking on is uncertain or unpredictable, like relying solely on winning a lottery ticket for income. It's always wise to have a backup.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. This helps a lot in understanding how to use bank on correctly.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing and you'll master it in no time. Sarah, have you ever tried to run alongside a train?
No, I haven't. That sounds impossible.
Exactly. And that's a bit like trying to keep up with something. Do you know what keep up with means?
Not really. Is it about staying at the same speed or level?
Yes, exactly. Keep up with means to stay at the same pace or remain informed or equal with someone or something.
So if I'm trying to keep up with my schoolwork, I'm staying on top of my assignments?
That's right. You're making sure you don't fall behind. It also applies to trends or technology, like keeping up with the latest phone apps.
I see. It's about not getting left behind, like trying to stay up to date with everything happening.
Precisely, Sarah. It could even be keeping up with friends' news on social media.
Got it. Thanks for making it clear, Mr. Davis.
Sarah, have you ever heard someone talk about playing up their skills in a job interview?
I think so, but I'm not sure what play up means. Does it have something to do with acting?
Interesting thought, but not quite acting. When we play up a skill, it means we emphasize or highlight something, often to make it seem more important or impressive.
Oh, like making something seem better than it is?
Exactly. Imagine you're really good at team sports. If you play up that skill in an interview, you might talk a lot about your teamwork to show you're a strong team player.
So it's like focusing on the positive parts?
Right, but be careful not to overdo it. Playing up should still be honest and genuine.
Got it. It's to make sure people notice your strengths.
Exactly, Sarah. You've nailed it.
Mr. Davis, I've heard the phrase hang up, but I'm not sure what it means. Can you explain it to me?
Of course, Sarah. Hang up is a phrasal verb that usually means to end a phone call.
Oh, that seems simple. So when I finish talking on the phone, I hang up?
Yes, exactly. When you press the button to end the call, you are hanging up the phone.
Are there any other meanings for hang up?
Great question, Sarah. While hang up mostly means ending a call, it can also mean placing something on a hook or hanger, like hanging up your coat.
So when I put my jacket in the closet, I hang it up?
Exactly right. You're using a hook or hanger to put it away. Just like with calls, the idea is about stopping or finishing an action.
That makes sense. Thanks, Mr. Davis. I understand hang up much better now.
You're welcome, Sarah. It's often used, so keep listening for it in conversations. Today, we're going to learn about the phrasal verb check in. Do you know what it means?
I think it's something you do when you go to a hotel?
Exactly. Check in means to let someone know you've arrived at a place, like a hotel. It's when you say, "I'm here," and usually give your name.
Oh, so it's like when you go to the front desk and tell them you have a room?
Yes, that's right. You give them your information and they might give you a key to your room.
Can check-in be used for other places too?
Good question. Yes, it can also be used at airports when you confirm that you're there for your flight.
So it's just to make sure people know you've arrived?
Precisely. You might also check in with friends or family to let them know you're safe or see how they're doing.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now I understand check-in better.
You're welcome, Sarah. I'm glad it makes sense now.
Mr. Davis, I heard someone say play down in a movie yesterday. What does that mean? Is it like playing with less energy?
Great question, Sarah. Play down is a phrasal verb that means to make something seem less important or not a big deal. Imagine you're playing a game and don't want others to think you're winning easily. You'd play down your skills.
Oh, so if I got a high score on a test but acted like it wasn't much, I'd be playing it down?
Exactly, Sarah. By saying, "Oh, it was nothing," you're playing down your achievement to not make others feel bad.
That makes sense. Do people use play down to avoid attention too?
Yes, precisely. Sometimes people play down situations to keep tension low or prevent making someone uncomfortable.
Interesting, Mr. Davis. It's like softening a situation. Thanks for explaining.
Sarah, have you ever heard the phrase lock in and wondered what it truly means in different situations?
I have, Mr. Davis. Can you explain it to me in simple terms?
Certainly. Imagine you're deciding on a vacation spot. Once you've chosen and booked your hotel, you've locked in your location. It means you've made a decision and it's set.
So it's like making a choice final?
Exactly. It's also used when securing a deal or rate. For example, locking in a price before it goes up.
That makes sense. Can it apply to things beyond decisions or deals?
Yes. For instance, if you lock in a basketball player for a game, it means they're confirmed to participate. You're securing their involvement.
Got it. So lock in is about securing and confirming something.
Precisely, Sarah. Remember, it's about making things definite and secure in various contexts.
Mr. Davis, can you explain the phrasal verb give up to me? I hear it a lot, but I'm not sure what it means.
Of course, Sarah. Give up is a very common phrasal verb. It means to stop trying to do something because it's difficult or you've decided you don't want to do it anymore.
Oh, so it's like when you stop playing a video game because it's too hard?
Exactly. If a game is too challenging and you decide not to continue, you can say you gave up on it.
Are there more examples?
Sure. Suppose someone is trying to learn a musical instrument like the guitar. If they find it too hard and decide to stop practicing, they could say they've given up on learning guitar.
I see. So give up is about stopping an effort?
Yes, and it can also apply to things like breaking a habit. If someone gives up smoking, they stop doing it because they no longer want to.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That makes it much clearer.
Have you ever had a time when you were really excited about something, but then it didn't turn out as you expected?
Oh, yes, like when I got tickets to a concert, but the band canceled last minute. That was disappointing.
Exactly. In situations like that, you could say you were let down. The phrasal verb let down means to make someone disappointed by not meeting their expectations.
So is it like when someone promises something and then doesn't do it?
Yes, that's a great example. If a friend says they'll help you with homework but cancels, you might feel let down.
It makes sense now. It's like feeling a bit sad when things don't go as planned.
Precisely. And knowing this phrase helps you express those feelings clearly in English.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now I know how to use let down when talking about disappointments.
Hello, Sarah. Today, let's talk about the phrasal verb act up. Have you heard that term before?
I've heard people say it sometimes, but I'm not sure what it means.
No worries. Act up is often used to describe something or someone that's not working properly or behaving badly. For example, if a computer is malfunctioning, you might say, the computer is acting up.
So you can use it for machines? What about people?
Absolutely. When people act up, it usually means they are not behaving well. For instance, if a child is being noisy or causing trouble, you could say, the kids are acting up today.
That makes sense. Are there any other contexts where we use act up?
It can also apply to physical symptoms. If someone's knee hurts occasionally, they might say, my knee acts up when it's cold.
Thanks for explaining that. Now I understand how to use act up in different situations.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing, and it'll become second nature. Today, we're going to learn about the phrasal verb calm down. Do you know what it means?
I think it's about relaxing or something like that.
You're on the right track. Calm down means to become less upset, excited, or angry. It's like when you're feeling tense and you need to return to a peaceful state.
Like when I get nervous before a test and I need to breathe deep to calm down?
Exactly. Taking deep breaths is a great way to help yourself calm down. It's all about reducing those anxious feelings.
So, could I say to my friend, calm down, if she's really mad about something?
Yes, that's perfect. It's a gentle way to suggest she should try to feel more relaxed and not let her emotions take over.
But what if she needs more help with calming down?
Good question. You can always offer support like talking with her or suggesting she take a break. Those things can help.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now calm down makes more sense to me.
Have you ever watched an airplane as it begins its journey into the sky?
Yes, I remember watching a plane lift off the ground. It's quite exciting.
Exactly. And that leads us to today's topic. Do you know what takeoff means?
I think it means when something leaves the ground, like a plane.
Correct. Take off can describe an airplane leaving the runway, but it has other meanings too. Can you think of another scenario?
Does it mean when something becomes popular quickly?
Yes, when we say a song or a trend takes off, it means it becomes very popular rapidly.
Oh, I see. So it means to start something quickly or become successful fast.
That's right. Another use is when someone removes clothing, like take off your jacket.
So, take off can mean to leave, rise, become popular, or remove something. That's neat. Mr. Davis, can you explain what call-out means? I've heard it before, but I'm not sure.
Of course, Sarah. Call out is a phrasal verb that people often use to mean telling something loudly so others can hear you.
Like shouting?
Yes, that's part of it. For instance, if you see a friend across the street, you might call out their name to get their attention.
Oh, I see. Can it mean anything else?
Yes, it also can mean pointing out something wrong or unfair. For example, if someone says something incorrect, you might call them out on it by correcting them.
So, if someone is being unfair and you say so, you're calling them out?
Exactly. It's about making sure the issue is recognized and addressed.
That makes sense. So it's both getting someone's attention and addressing issues?
Right, in simple terms. Getting noticed and highlighting a problem. Keep practicing using it in sentences, and you'll get even better. Imagine you missed a day at school. What might you need to do when you return to catch up?
I guess I'd need to do the homework and classwork I missed.
Exactly. In this context, you would need to make up the work. Make up means to do something you missed or to create something to fill a gap.
So it's like catching up on what I missed?
Yes, that's part of it. Make up can also mean to invent something, like when someone makes up a story.
Oh, I see. So it can mean creating something from nothing too?
Exactly. And there's another use. After a disagreement, two people might reconcile by making up.
Like when friends argue and then resolve it?
Precisely. They make up to restore their friendship. So, make up can mean catching up, creating, or reconciling.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That makes it easy to remember. Mr. Davis, I've been hearing the phrase figure out a lot, and I'm not entirely sure what it means. Can you explain it in simple words?
Of course, Sarah. Figure out is a phrasal verb we use when talking about finding an answer or understanding something that we didn't know before.
So, if I'm trying to solve a math problem and I finally get it, I can say I figured it out?
Exactly. When you figure it out, you've discovered the solution or made sense of something that was confusing at first.
Oh, that makes sense. Is it only used for problems, or can it be used in other situations?
Great question. You can figure out almost anything, like planning how to get somewhere, understanding instructions, or even realizing why someone is upset.
So, if you're trying to understand why a friend is sad, you might say, I need to figure out what's wrong.
Yes, that's a perfect example. Once you understand the reason, you can say you figured it out. It's about reaching clarity.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I think I've figured out how to use figure out now.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep using it and it'll become even easier for you.
Mr. Davis, I was watching this movie where someone mentioned let in during a scene. What does let in actually mean?
Great question, Sarah. Let in is a phrasal verb that means to allow someone or something to enter a place. It's like opening a door for someone.
So, if a friend knocks on my door, I would let them in by opening it?
Exactly. When you open the door and allow your friend to come inside, you're letting them in. It's all about granting entry.
Could it also apply to letting light into a room?
Yes, that's right. If you open the curtains, you let in light. It means you're allowing light to enter the space.
It seems pretty straightforward. Does it have any other meanings?
Mostly, let in is about allowing entry, whether it's for people, light, air, or even ideas. It's versatile.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I understand let in much better now.
Sarah, have you ever been in the middle of baking cookies and suddenly realized you have no more flour?
Oh, yes, that's happened before. I thought I had enough, but the bag was empty.
That's a perfect example of the phrase run out of. It means you've used up all of something and there's none left.
So, you run out of something when you don't have any more of it?
Exactly. If you run out of milk, there's no milk left to drink or cook with.
Can you use it in a sentence for me?
Sure. I need to go to the store because we've run out of bread for sandwiches.
Got it. It sounds like an important phrase to know, especially for shopping.
Yes, it's very useful. It can apply to almost anything like time, patience, or even ideas.
So I could say, I've run out of ideas for my art project?
Perfectly said, Sarah. You've run out of ideas when you can't think of any more. We're going to explore the phrasal verb get off. Do you know what it means?
I've heard it before, but I'm not sure about its meaning. Could you explain it to me?
Of course. Get off often means to leave or exit something. Like when you leave a bus or a train, you get off it.
Oh, I see. So if I'm on a bike and stop riding, can I say, I get off the bike?
Exactly right. It can also mean to stop work. If you finish work at 5 p.m., you might say, I get off work at 5.
Interesting. Can get off mean anything else?
Yes, it can also mean to escape without punishment. If someone gets off without a penalty, they aren't punished for something they did.
That's very helpful. Thanks for explaining, Mr. Davis.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing and you'll master phrasal verbs in no time.
Mr. Davis, I heard someone say they're going to switch up their style. What does switch up mean?
Great question, Sarah. Switch up is a phrasal verb meaning to change something, usually in a noticeable way.
Oh, like changing clothes?
Exactly. If you switch up your wardrobe, you change what you wear. It's about making a visible change from one thing to another.
So, can it be used for other things too, not just clothes?
Absolutely. You can switch up a routine like trying a different route to school or changing what you have for breakfast.
That sounds fun. Is it always a big change?
Not necessarily. It can be a small change or a big one, but it's something different enough to notice.
Got it. So it's like trying something new to keep life interesting?
Exactly, Sarah. Switching up helps prevent things from getting too boring and adds a little excitement. Sarah, have you ever tried doing something challenging but kept going until you succeeded?
Yes. I once kept practicing the piano even when it was tough.
That's a great example. Today, let's talk about the phrasal verb keep on. Do you know what it means?
I think it means to continue doing something, right?
Exactly. Keep on means to persist or continue an action, Like when you kept practicing the piano, you kept on playing despite the challenge.
Oh, I see. It's like never giving up.
Yes, that's right. Whether it's studying for a test or practicing a sport, when you keep on, you persist in your efforts.
So if I say, I need to keep on reading to finish the book, it means I should continue reading?
Precisely, Sarah. You're doing great. Keep on is a useful way to express maintaining action over time.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I'll remember to keep on learning.
Today, let's talk about the phrasal verb get in. Do you know what it means?
Not really, Mr. Davis. Does it mean entering somewhere?
Exactly right. Get in often means entering or going inside something. For example, when you get in a car, you're entering the car.
Oh, that makes sense. Can it be used in other situations?
Yes, Sarah. You can also use get in when talking about arriving at a place, especially if there's an expected time. Like, what time did you get in last night? Means, what time did you arrive?
I see. So it's like arriving somewhere as well.
Precisely. And sometimes, get in can refer to being chosen or accepted, like getting into a team or school.
Wow, it has a lot of uses.
It does. Remember, context will help you understand which meaning applies.
Thanks for explaining, Mr. Davis. I get it now.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing. Today I want to explain the phrasal verb call off. Do you know what it means?
Hi, Mr. Davis. I think it has something to do with canceling plans, right?
Exactly. Call off means to cancel an event or an activity. For instance, if a meeting is no longer happening, you can say it has been called off.
Got it. So, is it only used for meetings and events, or can it be used in other situations?
Good question. It's mostly used for events, meetings, or appointments. You wouldn't typically use it for canceling a subscription, for example.
Okay, that makes sense. Can you give me an example sentence?
Sure. Due to the heavy rain, the soccer match was called off.
That's a clear example. So the match was canceled because of the weather.
Exactly, Sarah. You're getting the hang of it. Remember, call off always refers to canceling something planned.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That helps a lot.
Hi, Sarah. Today let's talk about the phrasal verb back up. Do you know what it means?
I've heard it before, but I'm not sure what it means exactly. Can you explain it to me?
Of course. Back up can have a few different meanings. One common usage is when you support someone or something. For example, if you agree with a friend in a debate, you might say you back up their opinion.
Oh, like being supportive. Is there another meaning?
Yes, back up can also mean to make a copy of data or files to prevent loss. For example, you might back up important documents on your computer.
That makes sense. So it's like saving a copy just in case something happens to the original?
Exactly. Another meaning is to move backward, like when you back up a car. It's a versatile phrasal verb.
Thanks for explaining, Mr. Davis. I understand it much better now.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing, and soon these phrasal verbs will come naturally to you. Hi, Sarah. Today let's explore the phrasal verb back down. Do you have any idea what it means?
I think I've heard it before, but I'm not sure what it means exactly. Is it about moving backward?
Close, but not quite. Back down means to withdraw a position or concede in an argument or conflict. It's like choosing not to fight or argue anymore.
Oh, like when you decide to stop arguing with a friend to avoid a bigger fight?
Exactly. For example, if two people disagree, one might back down to keep the peace.
I see. So is back down usually seen as a negative action, like giving up?
Not necessarily. It can be a smart decision to avoid unnecessary conflict or to resolve a situation calmly.
That makes sense. So it's about being strategic rather than stubborn.
Precisely, Sarah. Knowing when to back down can even strengthen relationships by showing respect and understanding.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That clarifies a lot. I'll try to use it in conversations.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing. Hi, Sarah. Today we're going to learn about the phrasal verb get away. Do you know what it means?
I think it means to escape, right?
That's one way to use it. Get away can mean to escape or leave a place, like if you need a break or are escaping a problem. For example, I need to get away from the city noise for a while.
So it's like taking a vacation.
Exactly. You can also say get away when going on a trip, like we're planning a weekend getaway.
Oh, that's cool. Can it mean anything else?
Yes, it can also mean avoiding trouble. For example, he can't get away with cheating on the test.
So, like not getting caught when doing something wrong?
Precisely. So get away has a few meanings: escaping, traveling, or avoiding trouble.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That makes get away much clearer for me.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep exploring these expressions and you'll become even more fluent.
Mr. Davis, do you know what happened with the big art heist downtown? I heard someone alerted the police just in time.
That's intriguing, Sarah. When someone alerts the authorities about potential trouble, especially in secret, we call it a tip-off.
So, is tip-off like giving someone a secret heads up?
Exactly. Imagine if you knew about a surprise party and told the guests secretly so they could be prepared. That would be a tip-off.
Ah, so it's about giving secret information. Does it only involve bad situations?
Not necessarily. While it's often used for uncovering wrongdoing like crimes, tip-offs can apply to any secretive, useful information sharing.
Interesting. So if someone alerted the museum about security risks, that could be a tip-off too?
Yes, indeed. A helpful tip-off can prevent problems or prepare someone for what's coming. Hi, Sarah. Do you know what the phrasal verb hang out means?
Not really, Mr. Davis. I've heard people say it, but I'm not sure what it means exactly.
No problem. Hang out means to spend time with someone or just relax in a place casually. For example, when you meet your friends after school to talk and play, you are hanging out with them.
Oh, so it's like when we just chill and have fun without doing anything special?
Exactly, Sarah. It's very informal. You can hang out at home, in a park, or even at a mall, anywhere you and your friends or family feel comfortable spending time together.
That sounds simple. So when my cousin visits and we play games at home, we're hanging out?
Yes, that's a perfect example. It's all about being relaxed and enjoying each other's company.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now I can use hang out correctly when I talk to my friends.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing, and it will become natural to you.
Mr. Davis, can you help me understand what get back means? I've heard it a lot, but I'm not sure when to use it.
Of course, Sarah. Get back is a phrasal verb with a few different uses. The most common use is when someone returns to a place. For example, if you go to the store, you might say, "I'll get back home in an hour."
So it's like saying return.
Exactly. It can also mean to talk to someone again. If you need to check something before giving an answer, you might tell your friend, "I'll get back to you later."
Oh, so it's both about returning somewhere and responding to someone?
Yes, that's right. There's another use too. If someone borrows something from you and they give it back, you might say, "I got back my book."
That makes sense. So it can be used for returning to a place, responding later, or even getting something back.
You've got it, Sarah. Get back can be quite handy in different situations. Hi, Sarah. Today, you wanted to learn about the phrasal verb break down. Do you have any idea what it means?
Not really. I think I've heard it used in different ways, though.
You're right. It does have multiple meanings. Let's start with one way it's used. When a machine stops working, we say it breaks down.
Oh, like when my dad's car suddenly stopped on the road? He said it broke down.
Exactly. Now, it can also refer to when someone loses emotional control and starts crying. Have you heard it used that way?
Yes, I think I saw it in a movie. The main character broke down after some bad news.
That's a perfect example. Lastly, break down can mean to analyze something by dividing it into smaller parts.
Like breaking down a difficult math problem to understand it better?
Precisely. So, break down is versatile and useful in different contexts. Keep practicing and it'll become second nature to you.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That really helps.
Hi, Sarah. Today you asked about the phrasal verb bring up. Do you have any idea what it means?
I think it's used when you start talking about a new subject.
Exactly. Bring up means to introduce a topic or mention something in conversation. For example, if you're in a meeting and you want to discuss next year's budget, you would bring up that topic.
So it's like introducing something into the conversation?
Yes, precisely. You can use it in a variety of situations, both formal and informal. Can you think of a situation where you might use bring up?
Maybe if I want to discuss a problem with a classmate, I could bring up the issue during our study session?
That's a perfect example. Remember, the context usually dictates how you use it, but it's great for directing the flow of a conversation.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Learning about phrasal verbs is really interesting.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing and you'll master them in no time.
Mr. Davis, can you explain to me what get over means? I've heard it a few times, but I'm not sure I understand.
Of course, Sarah. Get over is a phrasal verb we use in a few different ways. One common use is to describe recovering from something, like an illness or a tough experience. For example, if you had a cold and are feeling better now, you could say you got over the cold.
Oh, so it's like when you feel better after being sick?
Exactly. It's also used when someone moves on emotionally, like if someone gets over a breakup. It means they're no longer upset about it.
So, if my friend is sad about losing a game, I could say, "You'll get over it soon?"
Yes, that's right. It sounds a bit like you're saying they'll recover from the disappointment.
That makes sense. Are there any other uses?
Sometimes we use get over to mean overcoming a problem or challenge. Like if someone is afraid of spiders and they get over that fear by facing it.
Got it. So it's about recovering or overcoming something. Thanks, Mr. Davis.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing and you'll remember it easily. Hi, Sarah. Today let's talk about the phrasal verb check out. Have you ever heard someone use it?
Yeah, I've heard it, but I'm not exactly sure what it means. Can you explain?
Of course. Check out can have a few meanings. One common use is when you look at something to learn more about it. For example, if someone says, check out this book, they want you to take a look at the book.
Oh, so it's like when I tell my friend to check out a cool video online?
Exactly. You're telling them to watch the video. Another way we use check out is when we're talking about leaving a place, like a hotel. For example, we have to check out of the hotel by noon.
Got it. So it's like leaving a place after you're finished?
Yes, it can also mean to pay for something in a store. When you check out at a store, you're paying for your items before leaving.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Mr. Davis.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep using what you learned. Today, we'll explore the phrasal verb come back. Do you know what it means?
I might have an idea, but I'm not sure.
No problem. Come back is used when someone returns to a place they were before. For example, if you leave home and then return later, you come back home.
Oh, like when I go out to play and then come back home for dinner?
Exactly, Sarah. It's as simple as that. Come back can be about returning to any place, not just home.
can it also mean when something happens again?
Yes, great observation. If a trend or style becomes popular again, like fashion from the past, we can say it comes back.
So, people can come back, and things can come back too?
That's right, you've got it. It's used both for people returning and events or trends happening again.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I think I understand come back now.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing with these phrasal verbs.
Mr. Davis, I've come across the phrasal verb eat up, and I'm not quite sure what it means. Can you explain it to me in a simple way?
Of course, Sarah. Eat up is a phrasal verb that has a few meanings, depending on the context. The most common use is when someone encourages you to finish all the food on your plate.
So, if I'm having dinner and my mom says, eat up your vegetables, she's telling me to finish all of them?
Exactly. She wants you to eat everything, leaving nothing behind. But eat up can also mean using up resources or consuming something with enthusiasm.
Can you give me an example of using it for resources?
Sure. If your smartphone is slowing down, someone might say, the apps are eating up a lot of battery. It means the apps are using a large amount of battery power.
Oh, I see. And what about using it enthusiastically?
Imagine a child hears a captivating story. You could say, she ate up every word. It means she listened with great interest and excitement.
That's really helpful, Mr. Davis. Thanks for breaking it down.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep exploring new words and phrases. Today, I want to explain a useful phrasal verb, come up with. Do you know what it means?
Not exactly. I've heard it, but I'm not sure what it means.
No worries. Come up with means to think of or create an idea or solution. For example, if you need to solve a problem, you might need to come up with an answer.
Ah, so it's like when I have to think of ideas for my art projects?
Exactly. When you think of something new for your project, you're coming up with an idea. It's about using your creativity and thinking skills.
Got it. So if I come up with a new idea for a painting, it means I thought of it myself?
That's right, Sarah. It often involves brainstorming or coming up with concepts that didn't exist before.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That makes it much clearer.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing, and soon you'll come up with amazing ideas all the time. Today, we'll talk about the phrasal verb come across. Have you heard it before?
I think so, but I'm not sure what it means. Can you explain it to me?
Of course. Come across means to find something by chance. It's like discovering something unexpectedly.
Oh, so if I'm walking and I find a book on the street, did I come across it?
Exactly. You didn't plan to find the book, it just happened unexpectedly.
That makes sense. Can come across also apply to meeting people?
Yes, it can. If you meet someone by chance, like seeing an old friend at the store, you came across them.
Got it. So it's like a surprise meeting?
Precisely. It's about surprises or accidental discoveries. Keep that in mind and you'll remember it easily.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I understand come across much better now.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing and you'll master phrasal verbs in no time. Hi, Sarah. Today I want to explain the phrasal verb carry on. Do you know what it means?
I'm not sure, Mr. Davis. Is it like carrying things around?
Not quite. Carry on means to continue doing something. Imagine you're reading a book and I say, carry on. I'm telling you to keep reading.
Oh, I get it. So if I'm playing a game and you say carry on, I just keep playing, right?
Exactly. It's all about continuing with whatever you're doing. If you're talking to a friend and paused, I might say, carry on, meaning continue your conversation.
That makes sense. Can carry on be used at work too?
Definitely. At work, if someone finishes a task and you're pleased, you could say, good job, carry on with the next part.
I see. And is it the same thing if I'm studying?
Yes, if you're studying and someone tells you, Carry on. They're encouraging you to keep going. It's a positive way to encourage continuation.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I'll remember that. Carry on means to keep going.
You've got it, Sarah. Keep practicing, and you'll master these phrasal verbs in no time. Today, let's talk about the phrasal verb catch up. Do you know what it means?
I've heard it before, but I'm not sure what it means exactly. Can you explain it simply?
Of course. Catch up means to reach the same level or position as someone else, usually after falling behind. It's like when you run to meet a friend who's ahead of you.
Oh, so it's like when you try to follow someone in a game to get equal points?
Exactly. If someone scores more, you try to catch up to them by scoring the same or more points.
Can catch up be used in other ways besides games?
Definitely. You can catch up on homework or reading if you're behind. It also means talking to someone you haven't seen in a while to find out what's new with them.
So you catch up with a friend when you chat about what's happened recently, right?
Right. It's a way to share updates and stay connected. You're catching up on their life events. Hi, Sarah. Today let's talk about the phrasal verb get out. Do you know what it means?
Not really. Can you explain it to me?
Sure. Get out means to leave a place or go out of something. Simple, right?
So, like when I leave a room?
Exactly. If you're in a room and someone tells you to get out, it means they want you to leave that room.
Okay, does it only mean leaving a room?
Good question. No, it can be used for any place. For example, if you get out of a car, it means you leave the car.
Oh, I see. So it's just about leaving or exiting.
That's right. It's a simple way to say leave or go out from somewhere.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That makes sense now.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing, and phrasal verbs will get easier. Sarah, have you ever been caught in a rainstorm and wondered when it would stop?
Yes, I have. It feels like it never ends sometimes.
That's a perfect scenario to learn a new phrasal verb, let up. Do you know what it means?
Not really. Can you explain it?
Of course. Let up means something is stopping or slowing down, like when heavy rain starts to get lighter or even stops.
So when the rain slows or stops, it lets up.
Exactly. Not just rain. It can be used for anything intense that's calming down. For example, if a storm slows, you can say the storm is letting up.
Interesting. Can it be used in other situations like work?
Yes. If your workload is heavy and then decreases, you can say your workload let up.
I get it. It's like when pressure decreases, things let up.
That's right, Sarah. It's a handy way to describe relief or easing up in many situations. Let's talk about the phrasal verb get by. Do you know what it means?
Not really, Mr. Davis. I'm not sure how to use it.
No problem. Get by means to manage or survive with what you have. Think of it as doing okay in a situation, even if things aren't perfect.
Oh, so like when you don't have much money but can still live?
Exactly. If someone says, I get by with my part-time job, they mean they make enough money to manage their basic needs.
Got it. So it's about handling things even if it's not easy?
Yes, that's it. Get by might mean things aren't great, but you can still keep going.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I think I understand now.
I'm glad to hear that, Sarah. Keep practicing using it in sentences and it'll become easier.
I will, Mr. Davis. Thanks for explaining it so simply.
Anytime, Sarah. Keep up the great work. Hi, Sarah. Today, let's talk about a simple phrasal verb, hold on. Do you know what it means?
I've heard it, but I'm not sure exactly what it means.
No problem. Hold on is like saying, wait a moment or pause for a short time. You might use it when you need someone to stop and wait.
So it's like when you're on the phone and need a second to grab something?
Exactly, Sarah. If you're talking and need to find a pen, you might say, hold on, let me get a pen. It's very useful in daily conversations.
Oh, got it. And can it also mean to physically hold something tightly?
Absolutely. Imagine you're on a roller coaster and someone says, "Hold on to the handle." It means keep a firm grip so you don't lose balance.
That makes sense. So hold on can be about waiting or physically holding tight.
You nailed it, Sarah. It's a versatile phrase. Keep practicing using it and you'll become more comfortable.
Mr. Davis, I've been feeling confused about what career path to choose after school. Do you have any advice on how to decide?
That's an important decision, Sarah. One good approach is to think over your options. Do you know what that means?
Not really. Does think over mean just thinking about it more?
Exactly. But it involves more than just thinking. Think over means to carefully consider all aspects of a decision before making a choice. It's about giving yourself time to weigh the pros and cons.
Oh, so it's like when you take your time before deciding something important, right?
Precisely. Imagine you're deciding what to buy with your savings. You wouldn't rush, right? You'd think over which option gives you the best value.
Got it. So I need to take my time, explore my interests, and consider what makes me happy for my career.
Exactly, Sarah. Thinking over your decision will help you make a more informed and satisfying choice.
Mr. Davis, can you explain the phrasal verb get down? I find it a bit confusing.
Of course, Sarah. Get down can have a few meanings depending on the context. One common meaning is to move from a higher position to a lower one. For example, if you're standing on a chair, I might say, "Get down from there."
Oh, so it's like climbing down?
Exactly. Another meaning is to feel sad or depressed. For instance, if someone is feeling blue, you could say they're a bit down or they need to get down from their mood.
I see. So it can relate to emotions too.
Yes, it can. Plus, there's the fun usage. Get down is also used to describe dancing or enjoying music. Like when someone says, "Let's get down on the dance floor."
That's interesting. So get down is quite versatile.
It is. Remember the context and you'll easily understand which meaning fits. Keep practicing and you'll get better at using it. Sarah, have you noticed how some old gadgets disappear from stores over time?
Yeah, like those old flip phones. Why do they vanish?
Great observation. That's where the term phase out comes in. Do you know what it means?
Not really. Does it mean to stop using something?
Exactly. Phase out means to gradually stop using or producing something over time. Companies often replace old products with newer versions.
Oh, so like when we phased out floppy disks for USB drives?
Exactly, Sarah. New technology made floppy disks less useful, so they were gradually phased out.
Got it. Does this only happen with technology?
Not at all. It can happen with policies, practices, or even clothing styles. Anything that becomes outdated can be phased out.
That makes sense. So it's not sudden, it happens little by little.
Hi, Sarah. Today, let's discuss the phrasal verb back off. Have you heard it before?
I think I've heard it in movies, but I'm not exactly sure what it means. Can you explain?
Absolutely. Back off means to move away from a person or situation either physically or emotionally. Can you think of a situation where someone might use it?
Maybe when two people are arguing and one feels the other is too close, they might say back off to create some space.
Exactly. It's often used to ask someone to give more personal space or to stop being aggressive. Can you use it in a sentence?
Sure. If someone was bothering me during lunch, I might say, "Please back off. I need some time alone."
Great example, Sarah. Back off can also mean to stop being involved in a situation. For example, if someone is meddling too much in a friend's decision, they might need to back off.
Got it. It's about knowing when to give space. Thanks, Mr. Davis.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing and it will soon feel natural to use it confidently. Have you ever seen how a tent is put together at a campsite?
Yes, I have. You have to assemble all the parts, right?
Exactly. That's a great way to think about the phrasal verb set up. It means to arrange or prepare something so it is ready for use.
So, does setup only apply to tents?
Not at all. You can set up lots of things. For example, you might set up a game board before you play or set up a new phone by installing apps.
Got it. So it's like organizing things to make them ready?
Yes, precisely. It's about making sure everything is in place. Try to think of another example where you might use set up.
What about setting up a meeting?
Perfect. Setting up a meeting involves arranging a time and place and making sure people know the details.
This makes it much clearer, Mr. Davis. Thanks.
Have you ever been walking down the street and suddenly needed to be really careful?
Yes, once I almost stepped in a big puddle because I wasn't paying attention.
That's a great example. In such situations, someone might say, "Watch out." Do you know what that means?
I think it means to be careful or look out for danger.
Exactly. Watch out is a phrasal verb. It's a quick way to warn someone about potential danger.
Like when you're crossing the road and a car is coming?
Precisely, you'd say watch out to alert someone about the car. It's important because it can prevent accidents.
So it's like a friendly warning to be alert?
Yes, it helps people avoid trouble by paying attention to their surroundings. Sarah, have you ever seen a picture where one person or object really stands out and catches your attention?
Yes, I have. Sometimes someone wears really bright clothes, and you can't help but notice them.
Exactly. That's a great example of when something sticks out. The phrasal verb stick out means to be noticeable or easily seen because it's different.
So if something sticks out, it must be unique or different from everything else around it.
Precisely. Imagine a tree that is much taller than the others in a forest. That tree would stick out.
Oh, I get it. Like a red apple in a basket of green apples would stick out too.
Right. Stick out is used to describe anything that grabs your attention because it doesn't blend in with the rest.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now I understand how to use stick out. Mr. Davis, I've heard people use the phrase help out a lot. What does it mean exactly?
Great question, Sarah. Help out is a phrasal verb that means to assist or lend a hand to someone. It's like giving support when someone needs it.
So, if my friend is doing a project and I do some of the work, I'm helping out?
Exactly right. When you help out, you're making something easier or sharing the workload with someone else.
Is it different from just helping in general?
Not exactly, but help out often suggests it's more informal and temporary. It's often used when someone steps in to assist with something specific.
Ah, like when I help out with dinner by setting the table?
Perfect example. You're contributing to a task or activity. It's a friendly and practical way to show cooperation.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Now I can use help out correctly.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing and it'll become second nature.
Mr. Davis, can you explain what the phrasal verb drop by means? I've heard it before, but I'm not sure I understand it.
Of course, Sarah. Drop by means to make a short, informal visit to someone or somewhere.
So it's like when you visit a friend without planning ahead?
Exactly. It's a casual visit. For example, you might drop by a friend's house to say hello after school.
Oh, so you don't need an invitation or a specific reason to drop by?
That's right. It's spontaneous and doesn't require a lot of planning. It's often done to check in or have a quick chat.
I see. So if I visit my neighbor just to see how they're doing, that's dropping by.
Exactly, Sarah. It's perfect for quick, friendly visits.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. That makes it so much clearer.
You're welcome, Sarah. You can try using drop by in your conversations to make your language more natural.
Mr. Davis, I've heard the phrasal verb find out a lot, but I'm not quite sure what it means. Can you explain it to me?
Of course, Sarah. Find out is a phrasal verb that means to discover or learn something new. It's when you get information you didn't have before.
Oh, so it's like when I learned something in school?
Exactly. For instance, if you didn't know what time your favorite show is on TV, you might ask someone and then find out when it starts.
Got it. So it's about getting new information?
Yes, that's right. Let's say you're curious about how a magic trick works. If you learn the secret, you've found out how it's done.
That makes sense. Can it also apply to finding out secrets or surprises?
Definitely. If you discover what your friend is planning for your birthday, you've found out their surprise.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I think I understand find out much better now.
You're welcome, Sarah. Keep practicing and it'll become even clearer.